welcome to Four Hosts. As always, there are four hosts. I'm Sabrina. You can find me at VoidCat Gaming on Twitter, Twitch, or Instagram.
And I am Michael. You can find me at Blue Beetle Games on Twitter.
I'm Jonathan. You can find me at JustAverageJ everywhere on social media.
I'm Keith Justice. You can find me on the Twitters at Keith Hayward, and that's Hayward.
I like how you finally know what your Twitter is.
I'm looking at it right now, just to make sure.
Oh, so you don't.
Yeah,
You don't know what your Twitter is.
He's like, I do because it's open right now. That's fine.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Today we're going to talk about episode 6 of Picard, The Impossible Box. So, let's start at the beginning, shall we? Somebody's having a nightmare. Daddy?
Oh.
I quite like the opening because I was like, all of a sudden we were in like a horror film with like the like horror soundtrack and the like high violins being all screechy and stuff and like scary horticultural dad. Okay.
So
yeah. How'd you feel
yeah,
about the opening? Shut up. How'd you feel about the opening of that episode? It was pretty fun, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I did think it was pretty intense, and it was it was just interesting because it had a very
it's a good hook.
Yeah, absolutely. It was intense, and it was very it kind of sucked you in right away. You know what I mean? They're like, ooh, what's going on? And obviously, we're not going to get to it yet, but the follow up about it later in the episode was a little freakier, and we'll talk about it. But it just it sucked you in, and then you got a little bit of resolution at the end. But it still was just very interesting and very, very horror film-ish, which I totally agree.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
I am going to be Demi McDonaldson over here. So like it was shot well done and it's well produced and really beautiful looking, scary. Remind me of like being actually watching a movie. But I think the thing that I'm starting to find that is the frustration with these episodes is not enough revealed or not enough strong reveals per episode. It's just like more questions that are trying to lead you to the end so that the last episode should make up for everything and the mysteries leading up to this. But like I want something like a good punch this episode makes you go, oh my god, because when I saw like the faded face, I'm like, oh my god, like are we about to reveal something, like figure something out? But instead, it's just the next hint to the next place, and it's kind of like, oh.
Well, I mean, are you wanting them to solve every mystery they bring up in each episode, or?
But they did solve this memory at the end of the episode. It's bookended, so
yeah,
they did.
But it wasn't a solve. It was like, all right, this is to the next place. So, yeah, I want like a central mystery that they can unlock this episode. You don't have to like solve everything, but like let's get like a really good chunk of like the story where you're like, oh my god, now we know a bigger thing, but like now we I feel like we have like all the same questions we had the first episode.
Yeah, I feel like this. Yeah, we'll talk about it at the end.
All right,
but I'm as you all know, but Keith especially, I'm directing it to you. As you know, I totally feel that way about the hints that they give out, where they're just like, here's a mystery. Okay, we will tell you the answer to this question right now. Here's another question. Okay, we will tell you the answer to this question right now without like giving us time to figure it out. So, coming from a different direction, but yeah, I agree with you there. Again, I mean, like they posed the question at the beginning of the episode with the dream, and then at the end of the episode, they were like, "Here, let's do the dream again." But
to lead us to another big question.
So she's like, Narek's actually sleeping in her room now, so that's fun. This is a secret. We will not tell anybody we're sleeping together, but I will sleep with you.
Yeah, and people won't see me come and go from your room every night. But
definitely
okay.
not.
Yeah,
definitely
absolutely.
not.
Yeah.
That wasn't. Oh wow, that changes something for you. That wasn't her bedroom that they were in.
I think it's her bedroom.
Yeah, it was her bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's just like wandering in and out of her bedroom totally innocuously. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Putting his clothes on.
Here's the thing that I found funny about that. There's this joke about L-shaped sheets, because in a lot of like romantic comedies, it'll cut to after they had sex, and for the man, the sheet's gonna be around his waist, but ladies have boobs, so they're gonna like cover the boobs, right? They do that in romantic comedies a lot. In this shot, they did the opposite, where she was dressed, but she had the sheets at her waist, and he had them up to his shoulders, and I thought that was really funny.
That
Good
is pretty
eye.
funny.
Maybe,
Yeah, I didn't
he
even
was
notice
cold.
Maybe it was cold. I mean, yeah, I don't. Do we know about Romulan and Vulcan blood temperatures?
I don't know,
think
but I feel like
Vulcan-
androids probably like the
Vulcan
room
temperature a little
cold.
lower.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, it's true.
yeah.
sorry to
Or-
interrupt.
You're right. No, you're right. I was like thinking about him being cold, but you were thinking about her. Yep.
hmm
Good point.
She had her
All
clothes
right.
on. I mean, she probably likes it cold.
She can't tell. She genuinely like doesn't know. She's like, I don't know what temperature it is. Some humans can't. Some humans can't tell temperature because
Yeah.
their nerves don't work right. So maybe she thinks that she's that kind of human for now.
Yeah.
All right. So Agnes lying to Picard about cause of death. Agnes very shaken up. Great. I mean,
Is that before or after we find them in bed together?
before we find who in bed together.
The Romulan guy and Daj,
It's,
or Soji.
After, I think.
Okay, I just want
I-
to talk about like the
Oh,
interaction
yeah.
with them in the bedroom, which was really weird. Cause like, does she find the deception sexy now? Cause like at first I couldn't tell if
Oh,
like
yeah.
they were on the same page or not. So that then he starts saying like I love you and everything about you, and then he starts suddenly ditching out. And you're like, wait, is she gonna get angry? And he's like, that's not my name. And she's like, oh you. I'm just like, wait. Yeah, and he also revealed that he spies on her when no one's looking, and then she's like, "Ah, you're such a scamp," and like,
Yeah, I definitely.
what's happening here?
I agree that the relationship is inconsistent. I think I wrote down him being like her calling his name Narek, and he's like, "That's not my name," because they just had the conversation about it not being his real name, and like it was, I don't know, it kind of like read as cute flirting, but like that makes sense from his point of view. I agree with you that her point of view is inconsistent, and like, are you really upset? Because before, when he suggested that he was calling her a liar, she immediately like got really mad. But then this time it was just like cute. You're right. It's just
I don't know. I think that she's. I mean, mind you, again, this comes up later in the episode, so I'm not gonna bring it up quite yet. But I think that to an extent, she's aware of him, and I think that she's. It's that subconscious, like, hey, I know what's going on, but I'm just gonna play along with it like I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like.
I feel like she's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I
May-
disagree,
It
but
could just be bad writing, too.
Yeah, agreed.
Womp womp.
Let Sabrina talk about that. She can tell you all about bad writing. Not that she does it, but that she's
I'm like, wait a
better.
minute,
She's
all
no,
the
no,
time.
No, but that she's
Like, this
better
is
than
all
the
she
people
writes.
writing. That she should be writing the episodes is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Listen. Okay. First of all, I never said I should be writing the episodes.
We did.
Other people said I should.
I
Okay.
did.
Bless you all. I do have concerns, and it shows up a lot in this episode, amongst others. It's been showing up the whole season, that Kurtzman and team are doing it in the same way as D&D from Game of Thrones, where they like know where they want the story to go, and therefore have the characters behave in a way that will push them towards that ending, rather than that makes sense within the character. I've complained about it before, and I definitely think that this episode continues on in that path. So, yeah, I am frustrated, but there's some very good aspects to it also that we'll talk about later, especially for certain groups of people.
Mm-hmm.
But it comes up in the episode, so I want to talk about that later. But I'm definitely finding a lot of frustration with the, here's a clue, haha, okay, here's the answer, this character exists to get you from point A to point B thing, like... I'm sure you understand what I mean. Like, that episode with Jerry Ryan was just like Jerry Ryan shows up and just like, okay, now I'll bring you to this one place, okay, and then I will leave, and then the next one, and
Yeah.
I want to talk about that at the end of the episode. Anyway, so yeah, you got me started. God dang it. Okay, back on track. Yeah, you're right about that relationship, Keith. I do find it weird, but I mean, whatever. Okay, Agnes lying to Picard about the cause of death. She's very upset. It makes sense that she's very upset. I mean, like, she felt for him. It's good of you to take advantage of the fact that you're sad that you killed him and just to tell people he's sad he's dead. What the heck? What I ever written? They tell Elnor about the artifact.
Well,
Oh,
here,
yeah.
real quick about her and lying about the death.
Yeah, let's
I
talk
mean,
about Agnes.
So first off, this is what, the 25th century? right, something like that. 20.
Whatever.
I forget.
Yeah.
I forget the timeline. Yeah. But you would think that someone would be able to go back into the system and be like, "Wait a minute, you turned off his oxygen. Hold on."
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but if they didn't
that was
suspect
your
anything.
fingerprint, or I guess. But it's like, you would think that there'd be like safeguards, like, wait a minute, I should alert the captain that someone killed someone on this hospital bed. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Back in
Like,
normal Star Trek.
There's
You would
definitely
see all
like
that.
no security system anywhere in this TV show
Yeah.
except like on the Borg cube, and even then I'm not sure how accurate.
Yeah. It just I'm like, really, like, we've progressed that many years and people still can murder someone without getting caught. I mean,
Back in
come on.
everything leading up to the end of TNG, yes. Now we are in a different universe that doesn't care, and like we have
no.
AI holograms that should be able to just run up to the master and be like, "Hey, dude, she did this. The
killed
cameras
someone."
were on and everything."
Yeah, didn't she like she, what do you call it? She turned him
Turned
off,
him
right?
off.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like, come on, that's a red flag. Like, the captain
Yeah,
should
and
know.
also, why is Picard asking her, who's a specialist in AI, not physical bodies whatsoever, to be the
She's a
doctor when they
doctor.
have an EMH?
Yeah, come on.
Okay,
She's a doctor.
she's the-
Yeah, doctors
Oh my
are
God.
doctors of everything, right? That's just a
No!
blanket term.
That's not how it works!
That's not how the force
How
works.
dare you!
Oh, so you're saying someone besides the doctor would know how to do doctor things?
Yeah.
How dare
I'm
you?
saying
how
if
dare
somebody
you, Sabrina?
spontaneously died on my ship, I would ask the doctor what happened.
She
They
is a
did-
doctor.
They did ask the
No!
doctor.
She is a doctor.
A doctor of medicine, not a doctor because she has a PhD. Thank you.
Not that kind of doctor.
Not that kind of doctor.
Oh, Doctor Who? Oh, I'm sorry, what?
Oh God, not that kind of doctor either. Although maybe not.
Yeah,
Who
you
knows?
never know. Watch her be Q.
Oh,
Sorry.
no.
Sorry,
Jesus
I know.
No, I would not want that.
Please, God, yes. I
Shut
would-
up, Mafia.
I want the like. They're off the rails. I'm not on a Starfleet ship anymore. Picard's not acting like Picard. Just go crazy. That's why I'm actually on the board.
Am I kicked off the podcast yet?
No.
You've been promoted to Colonel.
Yes. Wait, is that
Wait
good?
a
I don't know.
second.
Hold on.
Colonel's not even in the rank system.
I know. Wait a
What?
minute.
That's why it's good.
What? It's not.
No, it's not.
I don't know how it works.
In actual answer to
Oh
that
my
question,
goodness.
even though you guys are joking,
Yeah.
Star Trek uses U.S. Navy ranking systems. So Colonel is Army. And
Oh.
maybe Air Force. Yeah, Colonel I think is Army and Air Force, but Navy does not have colonels.
I am learning this now as we speak.
Listen, I know this for roleplay reasons. So, do you want me to give you the officer chart? I can do it right now.
Yes, please.
All right. So at the bottom you have ensign, then you have junior lieutenant, then you have lieutenant. Both of those would be referred to as lieutenant in parlance. Then you have lieutenant commander and commander. Both of those would be referred to as commander in parlance. Then you have captain, commodore, and rear admiral, and then admiral. What's interesting about captain is that it's both a rank and a billet, a job. So you can have the rank of captain without being the captain of a ship, and you can be the captain of a ship without having the rank of captain. For example, when an admiral takes over.
So would they be a lieutenant captain?
Oh.
So you would have
Just kidding.
the rank of admiral, and you'd be called admiral, but you would be the captain of the ship.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
I actually have been wondering how that works. It's like, there's a lot of people who seem to be captains that are. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
explain.
And then, so that's the officers. Then you have enlisted, which are people who sign up for like a certain amount of time, as opposed to being like, okay, we'll go to the school and then we're here for 20 years. Usually enlist like in real life for like a period of time, and then you can re-enlist as you want. And those are crewmen, and they have specialized jobs. So like yeoman is actually a crewman. And then when they rank up, they become petty officers. So they're non-commissioned officers. And therefore, they're still like a separate thing, and all of the officers are going to rank above them. So the biggest example of that in Star Trek is Chief O'Brien. He's an enlist, and he specifically says it in one of the episodes where they're like, "Hi, we have to go to this swanky party for officers, and like we're forced to go, and he's like, haha, that's why I'm not an officer, so I don't have to go to those. Fuck you.
So, question: what are red shirts?
It depends. Most of the red
Just
shirts
kidding.
are gonna be enlisted just
They're-
like everybody else.
Red shirts are expendable. That's what they are.
You made this horrible mistake of bringing up red shirts to me, so let me talk about red shirts for a sec.
Please
It
do.
makes sense that red shirts would have the highest proportion of death because, first of all, there are more red shirts than anything else on most ships because they're taking care of engineering and security and communications and all of operations. So most of the time you'll have more red shirts than anything else on a ship. But also, security is just the most dangerous job if you're going on an away team. So security people are going to die a lot. Just period. So that'll fuck up your rankings. Yeah,
And
that's
for
what I gotta say
listeners,
about
make
red
sure you
shirts.
know that for TNG, the yellow shirts are the red shirts.
But only partially. They didn't actually swap all of them. It's really weird.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
So where were we?
we were talking about Space Legolas. Okay, here's what's next. Space Legolas.
Legolas.
First of all, there's this great scene where there's this great bit where Elnor's like, wait, I don't know about the artifact, so they explain to us the artifact and like the past Borg stuff, and here's my note on it. Here's the info you need to understand this scene, newbies. It's literally just an info dump so that we can get it. But then Elnor does this like Space Legolas. I wrote Elnor Space Legolas vibes increasing because he sits next to like Agnes, and even though nobody else has picked up any of the things, he's just like, oh, I can tell you're lying, ha ha ha. So he's like simultaneously this like young innocent child who doesn't understand social cues and also can read people's language just like unerringly and perfectly, and I'm like, okay.
Well, and absolute candor, so he can call people out on it.
Right.
I did not put together that Vulcans and Romulans are space elves until I was like almost a man, and
So not yet. Just kidding.
they are just
His
jumping
design
up and
especially is very like
they're
Yeah.
just jumping
Space
up and
elf.
down on. He's an elf. He's an elf. He's an elf. Like, okay.
Well, that's how
all right.
Spock's ears even got made in the original series. I mean,
They were elf ears?
he was based on they were elf ears. You know, I think they were customized elf ears. Yeah,
When he was supposed to have like
That's
green
really
or red
good.
skin too, I think.
yeah.
they actually did color his skin like kind of greenishly, but not a ton. It was mostly the eyeshadow.
Styling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. You know, TOS was assailed with two kinds of fan letters or non-fan letters, I guess you could say. One half was like, you should cancel the show because Spock has pointy ears and clearly that means he's the demon, and you're saying that
The devil.
devils are good, so you should cancel this show.
Jeez.
And then on the other side, people were like, hey, that Spock dude, he's super hot.
Yeah.
Don't delete.
That eyeshadow though.
Yeah.
That eyeshadow though. Hey, Bones also had eyeshadow, you know?
Emo works.
Cool.
Yep. All right. So
Space
Picard
Legolas.
reviews the Borg artifact treaty. And I wrote this note specifically for you, Keith. How about that nice computer interface, huh?
With wait, which person?
When Picard uses his computer.
Oh yeah, he has a holodeck that's a computer. It's kind of like, you know, hard to think of like, so what's really happening here? Like, you know, he doesn't have a computer. He has a hologram that takes the form of a computer. It's
Well, it's
I mean-
Elcars. I mean, Elcars. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense to me. I mean, if you have like a tiny computer and it stores all of your information, at this point they don't really need a lot of space for it. Wait, actually, no, completely different. Let me go from a completely different direction from that. At the very beginning, they had the thing about Dodge and Soji, like, accidentally logging into each other's computers or whatever. So if your stuff is accessible from anywhere at this point, like, there's just different systems where you can just, like, make a hologram of a computer appear and then tap on it, but it's being projected by something nearby. I did really like how they stuck to the TOS, like, look, but they made it holographic.
all right. I guess like what comes to mind is the science fiction implications that if your entire computer is a hologram, you can make it look however you want, and like you could be like floating inside the middle of an orb, and it's just kind of like all the ways you can go with this is kind of like what goes to my mind, but I don't think the show cares about.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I think they were just replicating the TOS design.
Yeah.
The TNG design, excuse me. Oh, yo. I'm sorry, did you guys, Michael or Jay, do you want to talk about the Picard that scene of Picard in his office at all?
I liked it.
It wasn't very long.
I absolutely noticed the computer interface, and I was like, Gale cars, yay!
Yay! I did have one note that was a, oh my god, this dramatic overlay with Locutus. They do it twice in the show. Once when Daj is watching the video of that Romulan lady talking about the myth of the destroyer, where it overlays her face with the face of the lady talking, and then they did this again, but more creepy, with the image of Locutus coming up when he was going through the Borg, and then it overlaying with his own face. So I thought that was cute, and it also reinforces kind of the PTSD Picard kind of idea.
I actually love the. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Talk about later. No, we will talk about more.
Yeah, okay. I love the Locutus overlay. It just, I mean, it's that first off, it was kind of amazing because if you looked at it, it was very seamless. Like it was like his young face over his old face, and you couldn't distinguish the two, which was really kind of powerful because he's not only looking at Locutus, but he's looking at his younger self, and how like you can see how just we saw in the last episode how. Or actually, no, I'm sorry, this episode, how still broken he is from all of it. Yeah. So it's really interesting. But the overlay of Locutus and Picard was really, really kind of powerful. And I meant to bring that up, and I skipped over it. But
did it for you.
Yeah, it was just, it was seamless, and it was perfect, and it was beautiful, and it just made me like catch my breath. Because I'm like, oh my God, look at this.
A visual metaphor.
This is amazing.
Oh.
Yeah.
My take, because I'm not gonna crap on it or anything. It didn't hit me as hard. I wanted it to, but like I keep on feeling this show doesn't deliver on the depth that could happen. But what I did feel was how much Picard is more like Patrick Stewart now than Picard being Picard, and that's what I think kind of happened during the movies, where once they got free from Gene Roddenberry, all the characters started acting more like the actors themselves. Like, Jory gets rid of his visor. Picard now is a goofball.
The stuff they wanted to do rather than the stuff they were doing.
Yeah, and then so what I was thinking was maybe in this scene, what we're maybe seeing a meta of is Patrick Stewart grappling with being Picard. If that makes sense. So like,
okay,
like you get the overlay of those faces, and like what's going on with the Picard of this series is a meta layer of like Patrick Stewart, facing past actual Picard.
That's very meta.
I certainly like that interpretation. I think it's maybe deeper than what the interpretation I actually think. Just because, as you said, we have a tendency to be like, let's think about it really deeply, while we're not completely convinced that the writers are thinking that deeply about it.
Right.
So I think that's a great point. But accidental, maybe.
I just wanted to try to feel something in that moment and see what I could see. Because, like, I would love to, in the show for it to be like they do the overlay, and then, like, this episode we get some kind of crazy, like, oh my God, what? There's still Locutus? They rebuilt? I don't know, something. But, yeah, I wanted to see what I could see. There you go.
I just want to feel something.
Oh my God.
Make me feel. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Do you guys remember what happens right after that scene? Right after Picard looks at the Locutus self?
Is he the awkward non-seduction scene? Which I
No, it's the title sequence. The title sequence.
Okay.
After all that, we finally hit the title sequence.
The Broken Pieces title sequence.
Dang it, Keith!
What are you?
I have the song stuck now.
Yeah, I even did the wrong song.
It's been a long road. Sorry.
Get from there.
What was
my time is finally here.
Oh my God,
Right,
where did this podcast go?
I don't know. I have no control. I don't think. Hey, Keith, what did you say you thought came after the scene?
The pretty bad non-seduction scene.
Yeah, you're right. Rafi, not Rafi, Rios playing ball shirtless.
Oh God.
Agnes wanders in.
The only thing I got from that is note to self: be a captain of something. That's all.
The note.
Be a captain of something.
The note I have from that scene is, "This is for the ladies."
I'll just work out with my shirt off out in the open. I hope nobody walks in.
Yeah,
I was just going to the gym. Sorry.
I'm just going to the gym in this empty area where if I throw a ball against the wall, it might wake up somebody who's in one of the rooms nearby. Because he says, "Did I wake you?" I'm just like, all right, that's deliberate. Come on, dude.
Speaking of, I want to feel something. Come here, Rios.
I'm so embarrassed you caught me all sweaty here.
Oh, dude.
Let's talk.
Holy shit. So, yeah, Rios is playing ball shirtless. Agnes comes out. She's like, "Did I wake you?" She's like, "Space is the worst," which...
Stop that!
Hey, Agnes. What are you doing? Okay, I do actually like that they have somebody who doesn't like space because it reminds me of McCoy just talking shit about space all the time. So, yeah, that's nice. But actually I wrote, "Hello, Agnes, why do you hate space?" Oh, it wants to kill you. Fair enough. Okay, you will not be shocked to hear this, but really what bothered me about the scene was Agnes just being like, I'm so sad. Okay, now we will make out. Oh, wait, no, I made a mistake. No, now we will make out again. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's the note I have is awkward non-seduction, but it's nice that you can show that you can take rejection, just be cool with it. Oh, wait, he's not rejected. That was out of nowhere.
Yeah, it seemed awkward.
I thought that's what they were going to go with, like, she doesn't want to. And he goes, "That's cool." I'm like, all right, good human interaction. That's a good example of how,
and then
she does it anyway.
And then she's like, "You know what, never mind. Come here, I want to feel something." I want to feel something.
For the next couple hours, winks at the screen.
And Rios was like, 2 hours, damn.
My additional note about that is, damn it, Rios, don't! Oh, okay, thanks. Wait, no, don't! Jesus.
Oh, God.
Okay. Michael, how did you feel about that scene? No, you don't want to talk about it? Okay, Jay?
Yeah, I'm like, pass.
It was...
I threw up in my mouth.
Yeah,
That's
a little bit. Yeah. Well, it's just so funny.
Actually,
well, I just found it super ironic that she's like, I just have this special ability to know when I'm making a mistake, when I'm about to make a mistake. He's like, "Oh, okay, whatever, dude." And he goes to walk away. She's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and make this mistake."
Yeah.
Yep. She's like, "Oh, that was a mistake. I'll do it anyway."
Yeah, like.
Oh, dear Christ.
I
actually. I actually, like, the moment she kissed him, I was like, oh, maybe I should give points to whoever guessed she was an android. Because it just made so little sense to me. I was like, oh, she's an android. She must be lying or something. I don't know.
Oh, which still...
I thought... for a second, a note I have here says that, or wait, is she on the holodeck? Now it makes sense.
Oh,
just walked into this sexy fantasy scene of a shirtless
Rios.
captain.
Wait, isn't the
Oh,
whole
no.
the hologram?
Always delete your history.
You know what? Wait a minute.
Nope, wait,
Watch it be
just actually
watch it
happened.
be one of the
know.
holograms. Watch it be like the medical hologram. Like,
Oh,
gosh, yeah.
That would be awesome.
That would be so
Yes.
cool.
The
make more
emergency
sense.
exercise hologram.
the emergency fantasy hologram.
Yeah.
She programs the accidental walk-in program. Oh, are you
God.
working out?
Fucking awkward.
Holographic.
All right.
Just can't
shirtless.
help themselves.
Yeah, go
Well, if that scene wasn't awkward enough, the next scene for you is the incest twins.
ahead.
Whenever the two have a scene together at this point, I just write down the incest twins because I'm just like, whatever.
I'm sorry. I'm enjoying, since it's not real, the incest twins, because it's poor man's Game of Thrones. They're trying to do. They're trying to be edgy like that. They're like,
Yeah, where
"See?
Cersei's just like weird and touchy and stuff, and then her brother's like, I'm not really into this anymore, but all right.
Let's backtrack a little bit. We still have
Do
to
that
figure
Star
out
Trek.
if she used to be his brother, right? Do you remember that? How he talked about his brother, and someone was like, I wonder if, like, she...
No,
if,
no,
if
he just said twin. He just said twin. We talked
Oh,
about
Yeah.
that.
okay.
Yeah, that was me,
Okay.
and I thought it was a twin brother,
Okay,
and then
okay.
she has sex change, but no one said.
So yeah, we
He was
just
a
talked
brother.
about
Okay.
it. He just says I also have a twin.
Oh. Okay.
And I don't know if it was like bad acting or writing, but like when he came in and he's like, "Don't touch that, it's mine," with the cube. I'm like, what the hell? I don't know. It just seemed awkward to
You a
me.
child? Okay.
Yeah.
Especially since they've clearly had it for like a long time, because she makes fun of him for not being able to open it. So like,
Yeah.
he's had it. She knows. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. I literally wrote smashy sis and puzzle box boy because like I can't. Her character is so just. one-sided cardboard, like, I'm angry and I want you to hurry up so I can smashy things, and you're stupid for using your brain. I hate you and I will bully you. And
Mustache waxing.
But I feel like that's kind of the past trope. I don't know if trope's the right word of how Romulans were, though. You see what I'm saying? Like
trope is the right word.
Yeah, because before weren't Romulans like that? They were just angry and mean. And
not that much. Not that.
No, they were very subtle, manipulative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Assholes.
Okay.
She's not manipulative at all. She's just straightforward about being a bitch.
Just mean.
honestly.
Which is funny because
Yeah,
that
she's
actress Peyton List, I'm actually like a huge fan of. So it's funny to like see her in this.
It's a real shame.
Well, yeah, like because I mean she was on the Tomorrow People, I think it was. It was like a show on the CW, I think, and it was just really good. And I've been a fan of hers for a long time. And she's playing the character well, but it's kind of a poorly made character.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Very one-dimensional.
yeah.
I think they're trying to make him two-dimensional, and by making him two-dimensional, they were like, we just need him to be abused by a sibling of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she exists to push him rather than as her own character, kind of.
Doesn't mean she can't be a good character, though.
I know.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't, but she is. Oh.
I know. Sorry, Peyton.
I made fun of his line of, but why was she made to dream? I was like, okay. But I'll say that what he did come up with was pretty cool and a good sci-fi explanation of like her psyche and like her programming
Needs to dump.
mashing.
I mean, that's
yeah.
basically why we dream. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it
as far
actually
as
made
we
me
know.
think so.
Yeah,
So
good.
that was cool.
Good.
I laughed at the line, but they actually carried it off well this time.
The line I laughed at was him going, "Patience, sister, a quality you never had." I was like, all right, a little too on the nose. Yeah, we get it. She's impatient. Like, you've shown it to us. You didn't need to give us a line to tell us.
Yeah.
We know. We saw. We can tell. She harasses them like every other day.
Right.
Let's see, dream theory. Yeah. I thought it was really funny. He's like, I know how to figure out the information. I will become her dream interpreter.
Yeah.
All right.
Are we getting into
Michael.
that scene of the dream interpretation? Are we
Not
okay? Because we got some things to talk
Next.
about.
We're still talking
There's
about
more
incest twins here.
Rafi the
Okay.
okay. I was saying, next is Rafi the junkie
Yeah.
again.
I mean, I don't know. Are you guys? Are you done talking about that incest twin scene? Because we can move on.
Just
I'm up for more if someone else.
Let's
has.
move on to the junkie Raffi.
yeah, the incest twins. I just I'm just done.
What's
Yeah.
like Game of Thrones?
I just wanna say that I thought it was really funny, that Picard says, like, true honesty, that's the Zatvash way, or whatever. That's the wrong word. I know the Zatvash are the Romulans, but I forget what
The open
Assassin's
book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
Elnor goes, that is the way. And I was like, oh, I know this was written before Mandalorian came out, but ouch.
Yeah, I know. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And Jay, I just want to point out, I was right. They did use Picard as a diplomatic envoy. It got brought up.
I know.
All right. So let's talk about the real scene for a sec. So Rafi sweet talking her Federation friend while she's drunk. How'd you all feel about that, Michael? That scene.
I don't know. I think it kind of fit with her character, but I am kind of getting tired. Even as much as I like Raffi, I'm getting tired of her, drug-induced stupor, and I don't know. It just seems kind of. It seems. Excuse me. It seems to be a little on the nose now. I'm getting tired of it, I guess. But
Well, it just feels forced.
Yeah, in regards to that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep,
In
there's the word,
regards to that
forced.
storyline, I'm gonna stick with Jay. Feelings about it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you're the one who can judge the best, but yeah, definitely just. I feel like it's a big her character, Rafi, then character description, junkie. That's it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's
Sometimes.
the thing that sucks is the actress. She's obviously a good actress, and she's
Yeah,
like
she did a great job in this scene.
she's amazing, and that's the thing that sucks is I don't want to harp on her. But it's basically an actress.
Harp on the writing.
Well, yeah, but
That's how we do
But
it.
it's also it's her acting. It's an actress acting like a junkie instead of someone who actually knows what that would actually be. If that makes sense? Like it just doesn't feel
like you can tell from her
authentic. It's
behavior
unauthentic.
that she hasn't experienced it.
Yeah. Or and I mean that's just my gut, but it just feels like an actress unauthentically emulating a junkie. And then
I think it's like I think it's also the tone of the show where you still need to keep this character charming and fun.
That's
which is why they're doing it like this. And it's
Not to say that there aren't charming and fun junkies out there.
But no, I know. But it's one of those things where I hate harping on it because like I do like her and I like I like Raffi and I like where it's going, but the problem is those scenes just don't feel right to me.
Yeah, I have a lot of complaints about the scene actually.
Okay.
I'm
not
sure
about the acting, I'm sure you do.
But sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Opinionated, Sabrina.
I got words.
And we appreciate it. That's why you're here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Keith?
Don't speak for everybody.
Oh, fair enough.
I'm kidding.
Wow.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay, Michael is going to be quiet for the rest of the episode now.
Discord.
I'll turn my mic off.
To your space corner.
Discord ban. That's what you get for making us mods on the Discord.
You son of a bitch.
Keith?
Let's see. So, I guess, I'm not sure, like, I thought it was a little, I don't know, why was it black woman to black woman? Like, it felt like they're trying to get that kind of like.
Yeah,
hey,
I actually wrote that down too.
Yeah, like sassy black woman to black woman. That's the only way we can get this scene to work. Like, hey, okay, and then like she's destroying herself with alcohol. Yeah, I feel like they show it on screen as if it's supposed to be charming and cute.
Yeah,
and then like they all applaud like by the end, and she's got the bottle in hand. They're like, woo, and then like, hey, maybe she should be putting some detox in the med bay and helped out before she killed herself. Yeah. They're like, but we got in. We did. Good old Raffi.
Give her applause. Yeah, giving her applause.
Yeah. I'm actually so glad you said that because that's one of the things that really bothered me about the scene. Okay, cool, so Raffi is sweet-talking the Federation, but she's drunk. I actually didn't mind that it was black woman to black woman, because I think that implies like a specific relationship where they were like, people giving us shit. But at the same time, that's kind of one of those issues that I'm like, I don't know, that's more about how society is now as opposed to how society will be
in the Star Trek future. That doesn't need to be anymore to me.
Yeah. What really bothered me about it was, so the whole plan is lie to the Federation and then use whatever trick available to force them to make Picard a diplomatic envoy. First of all, having grown up in Star Trek, having to argue with people over and over that TOS is not that bad. Yeah, I know you like TNG, but whatever. I've had a lot of conversations about what kind of captain Picard is versus what kind of captain Kirk is. People being like, Kirk is too brash, he breaks too many rules, whereas Picard really does his best to make sure that no battle happens, whatever. Well, this scene was straight out of a TOS movie, where Kirk is like sneaking all of his friends on board and like stealing a Federation ship, right? So this Picard is acting like Kirk. Not only is this Picard acting like Kirk, but at the end of that scene, they had yeah, that's from the TOS theme. So they know it's Kirk and not Picard. So I'm just like, there's a major difference between these two characters. You can't have one character just do the thing the other one is doing, or else like, what's the fucking distinction?
Ooh.
So that made me mad.
Hold on. Yeah. I just had a brain explosion. So,
Picard is pulling from Kirk's book.
Picard and Kirk met in the Nexus, right? So, Picard got out of the Nexus, but did he?
Oh my god. Okay, fine. I'm writing down Jay. Picard is in the Nexus, but
and
I'm gonna say that.
And maybe
that's
Kirk
extremely unlikely.
Maybe Kirk after that movie too. Influencing Picard because they're both still in the Nexus.
Okay, we'll see about that.
They merged into the same kind of being,
That'd be really
like
funny.
Tuvix or something.
Oh god. So do we kill Tuvix and get Tuvok and Neelix back?
Absolutely, kill that mother. No, just kidding.
Wop wop. The other thing that bothered me about the scene, actually, I respect to. They're all clapping. The fact that Raffi just ruined her relationship. She
Oh my
wrecked
God, yeah.
that relationship for them. How dare they clap?
Yeah.
Rios is the only person who takes care of her after that moment.
Mhm.
She wrecked a
She was
relationship. She's
crushed.
obviously crushed about it. Yeah.
Don't ever call me again.
What is this crew doing that they're all like, yay, thank you for ruining that relationship for me. We're just going to stay here. You leave. What the fuck?
Yeah, it felt like maybe the cast and crew. It felt like they're too aware of we're in a TV show where the cast and crew are like happy to see the actress get like her moment of acting alone and stuff, and then that's what they're cheering for versus someone just did something illegal and ruined a lifelong friendship and then dives into a bottle.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Rafi's being ignored in that moment. And, like, especially since they're making a big deal about her being an addict, like, that's the wrong moment for it. Although,
Yeah.
Rios is, like, everyone's dad.
How is Rios such a genuine character when he's supposed to be such a badass? Like, how is he so, like...
Hey. These are not things that can't exist
Yeah,
together.
fair enough, but I guess in TV and in movies, you don't usually get them at the same time? Or you
It's because
don't
he took
you
his
know-
shirt off. That's why.
Oh yeah, I can't help it. I just he had me with the shirt off scene. I know.
Yeah, you're right. We don't usually see them together, but I actually quite like how they're finally having somebody who seems initially like a playboy, like actually taking care of people.
Speaking of Playboy, it was adorable how awkward he was in the pimp suit. I mean, just saying.
Lord have mercy.
Oh, so Rios is your favorite character now. I see it.
Maybe.
Actually, I thought him and Rafi would get together more. Like they seem more of like as both rugged space people who drink versus the doctor. Who just
I don't
showed
know
up.
though.
Yeah.
Well,
whatever.
I get a family vibe off of him and Rafi though. Like I don't get a relationship vibe. I get a
Like
family
a-
vibe. Like a
Like a
Romulan
chosen
thing.
family. Like a
That's what I
chosen
see as a
family.
result.
Yeah.
Right?
you know what I mean?
I see that as a result versus like what I feel like the characters would have done if they weren't written like
Okay.
this.
Yeah. Same. Like Rafi's relationship with Picard. Like we never see any of the build up. It's just like they know each other.
Yeah.
A bit.
Okay.
There's a brief scene at the artifact, but we can cover that with a later bit. So let's just keep talking about Rios. Yeah, my note is that about the scene with Rios and Rafi, that he's everyone's drunk/sad dad. Okay, so there's the scene where she ruins their relationship, and then there's a brief cut to the artifact where Narek reveals to Soji that she's only had 70-second long calls with her mom. And then we'll talk about that later. And then it jumps back to Rios and Rafi in her room, where he's taking care of her. Here's what bothers me. So if you take out the artifact plot, literally what happens is she wrecks her relationship with the lady. She leaves crying. They go to her room, and then she starts talking about her son. I understand that she's upset about her son, but the thing that started her crying in this instance is breaking that relationship with the admiral or captain that she was talking to. I think it was an admiral. I think I saw 5 pips.
Yeah.
So, the scene doesn't make any sense unless it's just like it exists to remind us about her relationship with her son and to tell it to Rios, because she should be upset about the admiral, not her son, in that moment.
See, the way I read that scene was all it was a scene to give Rios permission to grab the bottle of liquor. Because notice he took it out with him, and I'm like, okay, there it is. He's gonna go get drunk too.
Like, I like that they're. I like that they're. Well, we got to see that they're both like flawed alcoholics and all. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Like where, yeah, you'd think that she'd be talking about what just happened, what just broke down, but then I feel like that we'll never revisit that moment ever again.
I mean,
Yeah.
And yeah, we just have to go back to what the main thing is that is.
I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah,
that he was just being space dad, and he was taking the alcohol so she couldn't drink it. But still, in my head, I'm like, nah, he's gonna go drink it though.
That's good. Oh yeah,
Yeah, the more we talk about this episode, the less I like it.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I started
Right
out really
before you-
liking it. I was all happy. Now I'm depressed.
I'm so
I want
sorry.
you to continue to like it. Like just you got from what you got from it, and you can keep that. You don't have to change your opinion on my or anyone's behalf. I say,
Yeah.
unless you want to, then yeah.
But I understand hearing other people talk about details can change your opinion, which is exactly why I don't listen to any other videos
Yep.
until we've recorded ours.
Yep.
So at the very end of that scene, Rios leaves Rafi there, but right before he leaves her, he says, "No one gets all of it right, Raf." And I feel like that line was just like, "Hey guys, guess what? Rios also has a secret." So,
little on the nose, like everything, right?
feel however you want about that. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe we'll find out next episode.
Next season.
So the next scene, we probably don't want to talk about very long because it's very short, but it's just basically Picard outlining the plan for him going down to the Borg cube, talking about how he can only go to a specific place, and then he tells Elnor, "It's either alone or not at all. Do not leave the ship, no matter what." And I'm sure I was not the only person who heard that line and went, "Oh, Elnor's leaving
Exactly.
the ship."
Yeah, you knew what was coming.
Okay.
Yeah. But then they hand waved how he did it because I thought like it was impossible for that to happen.
Yeah, but he
they were
just
like, "Ah, fuck
magically
it."
appeared.
Yeah.
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 Okay. But we're skipping over something because I have a note talking about what came up to my mind was did we see a scene of Staj falling asleep to her AI mom?
Oh yeah, that's what I have next.
Okay, yeah. I noticed like when she started having flickers of her flashback, the sound effects and like the editing looked the same as when JL had one. I said JL.
Dare you.
Like they both had similar flashback moments, and the thing that made me make a note was, okay, wait, so Maddox is fucking dead. So the AI mom isn't Maddox. What is the AI mom? Is the AI mom the Borg cube itself?
Oh shit.
I think the AI mom is just loaded on a server somewhere. I don't think that it has to do with any of them. But that's just my opinion.
I agree that AI mom is probably a program, but I did write down who called hologram mom points to you, and I think that was you.
I know, agreed.
So points to you.
Yeah.
I haven't figured out the point scoring system, but I feel like you'll get extra points for calling it so fucking early.
Oh yeah, and I'll be also getting points when we find out it's actually the Borg cube itself, because you don't add a mystery element like that
actually,
over and over again,
it's actually
and
lore.
not have a big payoff.
Oh my god.
God, please.
I actually
Boom, right
expect that. Okay, I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but I actually expect that like a location that they revealed at the end of the episode, when they go there, we'll find out what exactly is behind hologram mom.
Yeah, agreed.
Because this show is so much like go from point A to point B, get to point B, get told to go to point C, go to point C, get told to go to point D, go to point D. So
Only 10 episodes to do it.
only 4 episodes to do it
Left, yeah.
left.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Soji looks through shit.
3 years is what? So 37 months. 37 months. 37 months.
She's 37
Yeah.
months old. A little less than. Oh yeah, no, a little more. 3 years and
month,
1
yep.
month old. Which, haha, you know what that means? That means that it puts her square into the born sexy trope. So now she has something in common with 7 of 9.
Yeah. She's one of those. It looks like. I was saying like maybe after the 8th one she would have been like, oh my god, it's true. But she like went through all 65 things in a room, and just like on the last one she's like, I can't believe it. Like yeah,
no, that's pretty
after
funny.
the 8th one, you know.
This is
Mine
30
sunk in,
and
but-
this and this and this and this and this and this and this and
Yeah.
this. Oh, I guess I should just
Space
Well,
drama.
real quick, when she was talking to her mom, we didn't talk about it,
Yeah.
how she stabs her hand.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that was cool.
That was cool.
Oh, yeah, to keep herself awake.
But it didn't
Mhm.
work. And also, there wasn't any blood.
No.
Oh,
Well, I don't know how hard she stabbed herself in the
Yeah,
head.
fair
but,
enough.
kind of.
Yeah,
It
good
looked
point.
pretty,
I'm gonna
yeah,
rewatch
it
that
looked
and
pretty
look.
forceful, honestly.
But she's bled before, so that would be kind of a
Yeah.
weird detail.
Yeah. It's weird.
But yeah, and also a good point about that, because her stabbing her hand wouldn't work if what her mom is actually doing is triggering an existing program, because her nerves are also just going to be like sending her information the same way ours are as a program.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that it wouldn't work. Okay, yeah. So here's the question I have. Episode 2 or 3, I don't remember. She talks to her mom and she asks how Soji is doing, or how Daja is doing, and her mom's like, "Oh yeah, she's fine, whatever. You know, everything is going great." Was that call 70 seconds?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I kind of want to go back and check.
You know what I found interesting after, I think it was after Keith called out the AI mom thing. I started paying attention, and you start seeing the screen flicker after a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Where you start seeing her head kind of glitch and the screen flicker, and I'm like, oh, he's right.
Yeah, I had the same moment.
I hope there's a good reason why it wants to put her to sleep.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like it's just like the program was only 70 seconds long. They were like, oh, we better keep it short so she doesn't notice inconsistencies.
Yeah.
So we'll just...
Well, it could be like send her information or download information or something.
Oh, yeah, that would be interesting, too.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I want points for that later, too, if it comes true.
Michael's keeping score. Michael's like, I want those points, too.
Damn it.
For those of you that can hear that, I don't know, but my son's in the background singing.
I can hear.
I apologize. I
Cool.
keep trying to mute the microphone, but sometimes I need to talk, and he's in the background singing somewhere in the house. Sorry about that, everyone.
To me, it's cute.
He's 7.
All of a sudden,
And adorable.
we hear the Enterprise theme.
You know,
that would be awesome.
You know what's funny is he's done that before. I mean, it's
oh, really?
because we totally watch TNG and stuff. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey, what triggered her wanting to check the age of her things?
When
good question.
When Narek basically told her, "Hey, you're not real. Like, you're dead. Have you ever?" Well, because he was the one that was like, "Have you ever noticed your calls with your mom are never more than 70 seconds?" And what would explain that? And what if you're not real? Like, what if you're artificial? What if you're, you know what I mean? So he started planting the seeds, and it basically caused her to second guess everything. And she was just like, "Wait a minute." So she started scanning stuff.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I kind of feel like that scene is set up for, oh, she's evil now because she's like, you guys lied to me. For that, she's totally the destroyer, or is she kind of thing.
Speaking of, what episode do you think Daj is going to show up? Didn't someone say they expected her to show up this episode?
No,
yeah,
that was me.
I expect her to show up episode 10.
Yeah, that's kind of,
I
I said
think
this
the
episode.
last episode. Yeah.
Nope.
I think it's going to be a big reveal time.
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel more and more like the twin sister might be done.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like,
now that
we
her
aren't
job
gonna
harassing her brother into getting the information out of Dodge and Soji is over, then no, she'll for sure go to the planet that with the 2 moons, but yeah, I don't see what else should be useful for after that. I think you may be right.
I mean, yeah, I'm not sure if like the other sister's coming back anymore, because there's like the flow of the flow of the story keeps on feeling there's not enough. Man, I used to love my sister, or there's not enough like references to make me feel like they're keeping her in mind that she might show up again.
Yeah, and his relationship with his sister is definitely like impetus to push him towards like being one of the good guys, quote quote.
I have a question. So with Data, there was Laura, there was B4. They all look the same, right? With Daj and Soji, what if they have another set of twins that look the same, and somehow Daj's memory, maybe that's part of the AI mom. Maybe it was a memory dump into a new body. What if?
A new body? That'd be
I mean, because think about it.
Instead of it all being lies, then.
I'm curious as to how, like, so when it comes to AIs, the most I know from Star Trek starts with TNG, and I didn't see a lot of AIs in the galaxy ever. And like, yet these twins seem like they're at war with another species where we haven't seen a lot. She's like, I want to kill all of them, and like all we know is just the one existing.
All of them being the synths, I think.
Yeah, where are all these other synths at? Because like, didn't
from
they
the Romulan past that the Dotvaj are afraid of?
But also,
okay.
But they're also talking about they want to kill all of them. Like, where is the home world of them? Meaning that they assume or know, maybe through intelligence, who knows, that there's more than just Soji and Dodge. So,
is this show that's for the first time saying that there's a whole bunch out there to get?
I don't know. We'll find out in episode 10.
Yeah.
And I actually have theories about that, but we're going to talk about it at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does anybody else have anything to say about Soji's 37-month life?
Yeah, I'm good.
Great, then we'll move on. To Picard making his way onto the Borg ship.
It's my favorite part's coming up.
Me too. So many feels.
obviously I have complaints about the show, but
Same.
and
Careful. Okay. It's like, don't shit on my favorite scene.
Yeah, I'm gonna quit this
Oh,
podcast.
I won't.
No, I'm just
I
kidding.
promise you.
No.
I promise you. I
you
won't
have
shit on
no
the favorite
idea what
scene.
I'm gonna say.
I know. I'm sorry. I forgive me, please.
I love that scene too, so you don't have to worry about me. But there's something else going on that really bothered me about how
Let's
that
let
started.
Sabrina
Yeah.
finish.
Yeah,
let Sabrina go,
ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Go, Sabrina.
To all of my friends out there, and I have several who were in the military, I feel like this is for them. The Picard flashbacks of the Borg cube, and he has PTSD of his days as the cutest. Yeah. If you're gonna put a PTSD allegory in this anywhere, this is a good place to put it.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that they gave him flashbacks, that Hugh and he talk about it. I wish that the particular events that happened when he was Locutus got brought up a little more, because it's less being on the Borg cube and more the horrific thing that happened at Wolf 259. But yeah, I'm a lot of my friends who were in the Iraqi war and did not got out of the military, totally anti-military now. I feel a lot of them are into Star Trek, and this is good for them. I'm glad they have this.
Yeah, I thought it was really powerful and moving when it's very it was kind of an amazing scene where he's having the flashback and he's flashbacking them holding on to him, being assimilated essentially, but then the two that are holding him are just trying to help him not die. And I mean,
Love
they
that.
don't want you to fall.
and that moment was like, whoa, look at how far we've come. You know what I mean? Like, it was just so powerful, and it was like he's, well, we won't bring up this part yet, my favorite part, but they're like, hey, they're just trying to make sure you don't fall. Like, hold on,
Yeah.
I understand. We've been there. All of us have gone through that. They just want to make sure you're not going to hurt yourself.
And that was
Hugh.
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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was the one that helped him come back down like that.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, I mean, exactly.
Before we get into the good stuff, though, can I just get the bad thing out of the way really quickly?
Yep.
Just get that way, so because I think we all agreed just that reunion was beautiful, but an admiral is being aboard a highly classified artifact, and there's no one there to greet them.
That's
He's not an
a little
admiral
weird.
anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Where do you beam into?
Yeah, Hugh should have been there already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there should have been some kind of crew there, and then he's just beamed into a ghost room, and it's just kind of weird that no one, because he got official clearance for it, so they all knew that he was arriving, and but how he showed up was just
But you
kind
got
of
to realize.
But then we wouldn't have got that scene.
Hold on,
I
you
guess.
got to realize that if Hugh would have been there, we wouldn't have got that flashback scene. So I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Let's
Yeah.
come on.
That's
Come on,
smart
Keith.
writing,
Yeah,
okay?
Like, hold your horses there,
Oh my
buddy.
god.
it did set us up for that. Was very beautiful to see him being all scared, but yeah, he used to
Dude,
say,
and
"Man, I got
okay,
Yeah.
okay. And I'm sorry. Go ahead, Michael. Anything else about that? The B-men?
Oh no, I was similar with Keith. I felt a little weird that nobody was there to greet him, but
Yeah.
again, we wouldn't have got the good scene, with the Borg
Yeah.
keeping him from falling. So
Okay.
I overlooked it.
Okay.
Is it because the Romulans were like, nah, fuck nah, we're not letting Picard onto this ship, and then Hugh, who's an underling under them, was like,
This is Picard.
I can
Yeah.
get him onto this
This is
ship.
Picard. I'll do anything for that dude.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, because Hugh loves Picard, and I actually
Yeah.
wrote to a point of reverence, which is interesting because, so there's the first episode he's in, Borg, where he leaves. At this point, he has a sense of reverence. And when we did the episode, I was like, it was weird that in the second one, he's like angry at them for what happened.
When Lore and the Borg, yeah.
Yeah.
But then he kind of starts being on their side again,
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh, it's nice. It's nice that he has that teenage, you were my hero.
Well,
kind of,
he was their
reaction to
savior.
Picard.
He's the reason that they
Yeah.
that he is an individual now. And the note I have, and I literally had tears, was the smile on Hugh's face, and the smile on
yeah.
Picard.
And
Yeah.
Picard.
And when they hugged,
When they hug?
Oh my god. I was like, I'm not crying, you're crying.
Conveniently, I was cutting onions at that time, so I had an excuse. But
You had an excuse.
Oh yeah. You were cutting onions.
But it was just the smile.
It was so beautiful. Yeah,
the smile on Hugh's face. I mean, just pure ear to ear. And man, Jonathan Del Arco's freaking amazing. Because I mean, you felt that. Like he was just so good. And the that smile just, it was like this giddy child, like, ah, Picard. You know what I mean? Like it just. Oh my god! I just butterflies, tears. I was like, I was done. I checked out. I was like, that right there made the series worth it. I don't care about any of the bad stuff.
Yeah.
I don't care about any of it. That right there, that is this series.
Well, I love how
I wish I was Picard, and then Hugh would treat me like that. Because wow, it's
Right.
just like hug me, Hugh.
I'm
like
sure
that.
somebody will respond to you that way when they see you for the first time in 20 years.
Exactly. Especially if the
It was so
person that
nice.
you saved from the collective. I mean, you know.
yeah, come on,
Yeah.
Keith.
Oh yeah. I got to get on saving
Exactly,
someone for a collective then.
No, but I love how Hugh like immediately was like, whatever you need, I'll be there for you.
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh, it just
Yeah.
that connection between those two is just beautiful. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And also, let me just slide in. There's the bit where Hugh says to Picard, "A new name can be the gateway to a new identity. I learned that on your ship." Y'all, Star Trek says trans rights once again.
Yeah.
I mean, they already did in DS9, but trans rights,
No, I love it. Oh, absolutely.
As they should be.
as they
Trans
should be. I
rights.
mean, of course.
Are
Well, like
human
in
rights. Because we're all humans, even Romulans.
We're all humans, even Romulans. Yep.
We all
when Data was creating law.
But not
we all bleed
Cardassians.
green.
Remember-
I mean, come on.
Yeah. Once again,
I don't
I'm
know
not
what-
saying this is the first time Star Trek has said trans rights. It's certainly not the first time, but reiterating trans
And
rights.
and
go.
at this moment in time in our society, it's a big deal. So, bravo.
So, like, this scene is interesting to me because the beginning has, like, the strong PTSD moment, nice, and then trans rights, nice, even if it was just kind of like a side thing. But then it ended with, like, hey, you know Soji? I know Soji too. Oh my god. Like, oh, we got a new Romulan spy on board that's trying to, like, oh my gosh, spill the old gray. They're having, like, this, like, gossipy conversation at the end. It was kind of cute.
But and let's not forget how how Hugh comforted Picard about, you know, hey, like it can be hard your first time back, and it can be hard, you know, facing what happened to you, you know, because it's tormented him, and he's, you know, and it's he's been damaged since it happened 25 years ago or whatnot. So, but he hasn't stepped foot on a cube since, or you know what I mean, like or I mean, it was just very sweet how he was like, hey, I understand. You know, I understand. I get it. And definitely. I don't know. You only get a brief glimpse of the character, but I love that there's a dude that turns and goes, Locutus?
Yeah.
That was
That's hilarious.
It's like he still owes me $20.
Wait a
goddamn.
minute.
It was so funny.
It was
Locutus?
like so
and
quick.
Picard turns around to look at him
Yeah,
like,
it
what?
was so quick, and he's like, Locutus? It was amazing. I had stomach laughs. I was like, oh, that was so good.
Yeah.
So good.
It was good. Amazing. Yeah, but Hugh's understanding towards Picard and his reassurance, combined with the short conversation Picard and 7 of 9 had, where they were like, do you feel human yet? No, me neither. But we gotta keep trying. I need a scene with all three of them.
Oh, yeah.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
That would be
Hopefully.
cool.
I mean,
I do have concerns that this show is turning into, like, the
Reunion tour
Keith, you're gonna like this.
reference.
Luke referred to this as the Mass Effect effect. It's doing the Mass Effect thing where, like, you'll lose as the show goes on, like, we lose our allies. So yeah, I'm skipping ahead here a little, but like 7 of 9 left at the end of that episode, and we're pretty sure she's not dead. At the end of the first episode, Daj died, and I was like, I'm pretty sure she's not dead. At the end of this one, the thing with Elnor, I'm like, I'm pretty sure they're doing the thing. Yeah, so Picard is slowly gonna lose all these people. You know, we saw it in the preview for next episode where he's
Who
like,
all come back?
I don't have my crew anymore, and then they're all gonna show up at the last episode, and we're gonna be like, oh my god, it feels so nice to have everyone back again.
I was feeling this, and also they did this already in season 2 of Discovery.
Oh, did
like
they?
they did exactly that.
Boy.
They met all these characters along the way, and then they goofily, in what's supposed to be good drama, we're here for you guys right now at the last episode. And you're like,
Well, okay, so Mass Effect Andromeda was very unpopular for various reasons, but it actually ends like that, where all of the allies that you've made along the show will show up in the final battle to help you, and that happened also in Star Wars. And I really feel like that's like a cop-out, cheap way to make people feel emotional. Just be like, hey, you remember all these people from before? They're all here now. Don't you feel nice seeing all of them? And like, yes, I do feel nice seeing all of them, but I'm also capable of recognizing that with like those 30-second commercials that end with you crying, they know how to access the tears and emotion in human brains, and they will take advantage of that as much as possible. That doesn't automatically make it good writing just because I cried. So we'll see how they do that. It can be done right, but it can also be done in a way that feels very cheap.
yeah. Well, what are you gonna do? Watch the Orville instead?
Hell no.
Nah. I watch real.
All right.
I watch real Trek.
All right.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
All right.
Shots thrown.
I'm
Blows thrown.
I'm not engaging in this conversation. Goodbye.
I'm just kidding.
This just impacts on my shields. It's not get to my armor whatsoever because the Orville's amazing.
You know
I
what?
know it is. I love.
I'm gonna watch
I love
Stargate.
Seth MacFarlane. I'm not gonna lie. That guy's a Trekkie more than we are. So I love Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah.
I'm just saying he's okay. I shouldn't say more than we are. I
He did
don't think more
Cosmos.
than we are, but he is amazing. I'm such a fan of Seth MacFarlane. So
I would say more than we are because like he's been on the show, he knows the show, and then even as a little boy, there's a video of him playing Star Trek.
I
where
saw
they do
it.
their own
Yeah,
little
it was like
episode in
it was
little
like
costume.
Oh, that's cute.
yeah, it's on YouTube. It was like a video. He had to do it in like high school or something. It was like a video for a video class or something.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Got to be his first time being a starship captain. And then he gets to make his own show where he's a starship captain.
Yeah.
Anyway, I could go on, but we should talk about Picard.
Sorry, his humor just rubs me
Yeah.
wrong. I do like that he's a Star Trek fan. I don't like his comedy.
I've enjoyed his comedy, and then it fell off from it. But the Orville doesn't hold the Family Guy comedy. as
It
much.
does in the first episode.
Yeah, the first episode, yes, but as it goes on, it's Star Trek. It stops being.
I'll be honest. I like his comedy. My wife and I used to stay up before our son was born and watch Family Guy and American Dad. Like, so that was like
Totally
that was
fair.
our kind of like us time before bed, and we don't hold it against me. I like his comedy.
No,
I'm with Sabrina. I don't like it either.
That's okay.
I did, and I'm pretty sure I still do like it. I just haven't been back to it in a long time. I want to try, but but once again, the Orville is just Star Trek.
And I might even watch it when we're done with
Cool.
Picard.
There you go.
Sounds good.
All right, so where are we next? After that really long kind of tangent, whoops. I have nothing wrong with
we do that
tangents.
often. Sorry.
I have that. It's sorry. I get the. I'm sorry. I don't like seeing Picard feeble and being crushed by PTSD.
That's fine.
And I guess that's the point. You're not supposed to like seeing
Yeah.
it. And it's just like it's like part of it is I don't want to see him this sad and weak. Or also, he has experienced everything a person can possibly experience in space, and this is the one thing that sticks with him. Which maybe it is.
Again, would be a bigger deal if they talked about all of the deaths at Wolf 259.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Rather than just 359, thank you. Rather than just being like, oh, and he was the cutest.
Yeah.
Because
There you go. Like, he's killed a lot of people. A lot of innocent people died at his hands.
I feel like they brought it up more in DS9 just by having Cisco be like, yep, not a big fan of you, than
that's
they
true.
have so far in this. Yeah. Okay, what was the actual next scene?
And then...
Oh, I'm sorry, you have something still to say. Go ahead.
No, not really.
We're just making ourselves sad. Sorry, Michael!
No.
Whoops. Okay, so the next scene was very short. It was just Narek. Soji confesses to Narek that she's only 37 months old, and he just basically goes like, oh, let me be your therapist. And I'm just like, you're so subtle. So subtle, Narek. Oh boy.
I mean, and one thing I have to say is he does play the torn part pretty well. You know what I mean? Like he's subtle, but you can like you feel this like torn energy from him, which is interesting.
Sorry, that was sarcasm when I said he was being subtle. He was not. I think I would like him being torn about whether he cares more about like supporting the Romulan fear of synths or the fact that he's like, oh no, accidentally falling in love with her. If it wasn't so clearly to be like, he will turn to the other side, you know. Yeah. Again, I feel like it's written backwards.
Mm-hmm. I guess and we won't go too much further into it, but I just have a last note that I want to say about Hugh, which was that I am loving how kind he is so much that please don't pull a twist on us. Like, I don't need to see evil Hugh.
I agree. I agree completely.
I will freaking hurt something if that happens. So don't do that, TV show. Don't do it.
Yeah, not every character has to be like a mask.
Double
agent.
Yeah. But going into the next scene with it's Soji and Eric, and I was saying how much I'm really hoping that, and we didn't get it. My note says I really want a big reveal. Like we've been going through so many mysteries, and then we went through like the maze of her memories. So what's the big reveal? And then the big reveal is a new clue, and you're like, oh god damn it!
I feel like the big reveal is even revealing something we already know about her.
Yeah, that we already know that she's an android.
Yeah, she's an android, and she has a twin. Oh look, there's a doll of her because it's her twin. That's in pieces.
God, that was too on the nose.
We're not even there yet. Stop.
Okay, stop.
We've got half an episode to get through. Let's talk about a better thing. The export clinic is the next thing. Okay, so I actually thought it was kind of funny. It's still on the nose, but they go into the XB clinic. He explains XB, and they already talked about how XB is a name to make them feel like a new person, but Picard says, I'm so glad you revealed what the Borg are underneath, victims, not monsters. And then Hugh talks about how they're still slaves, but they're not slaves to the Borg hive mind. Instead, they're slaves to the Romulans. And it just kind of makes me think of wage slave stuff, you know, just because you're not literally enslaved doesn't mean that you're not still enslaved to the system.
Yeah, America.
Yeah, so there's definitely like some current commentary right there. But
my notes phase out at this moment. Apparently, my brain just started drifting.
Stop.
He hit 70 seconds and fell asleep during the episode.
Yeah.
The screen flickered. Keith, are you feeling tired? Yeah. Hey.
Nicely done.
All right,
Nicely done.
next scene. We're in the next scene.
I actually, you know what the scene made me think of? I think that the Borg might be among the people who get activated by Soji and Bosch.
Ooh.
I mean, it makes sense.
So like Hugh, but that also means that Hugh and Seven and Picard might activate because Hugh says, yeah, I just remember things about this ship. You just know things about this ship too, even though we've never been on this particular cube, right? So obviously there's still something left over from the Borg selves, so that might be interesting. But also, if the Borg get activated and Picard doesn't get activated, I think I'll be a little upset.
Hold on, another brain explosion. So, you remember when they defeated the Queen in First Contact, right?
Yep, great movie.
Absolutely a great movie. What if Data isn't their father? What if the Borg Queen is? Like, what if Soji and Daj were made from, what is it? Their brain stuff, positronic neurons from the Queen, because they have the Queen head and the Queen brainstem, basically, right?
But then you get 100
right?
points.
Because that's what I'm saying. Because think about it. Well, then if she feels safe with Picard, maybe it's not Picard she feels safe with. Maybe it's Locutus she feels safe with. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, but the Queen didn't have a positronic brain, though, right? I mean,
I don't know. I'm just shooting.
Was that what you're saying?
Shooting ideas out there. I don't know. I'm just, you know, I'm just throwing things out there in case something sticks. I want points too.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I just didn't know that she had positronic brain
No,
necessarily.
I don't think she does. Yeah.
She does not, but maybe they are the Data's the father and she's the...
I don't know. She did like Data a lot in that movie, so who knows what happened.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah,
he
if
was
you know what I
fully
mean.
functional.
It turns out that Data is the father, but that the Borg Queen is the mother.
Oh no.
They made special note in this episode that we've never seen assimilation on this scale by the Romulans. Like, they made some special note that it's the Romulans that are able to accomplish it. And I keep on hearing the really bad theory that I don't need points for, that the Romulans created.
No.
Well,
Sorry.
that's probably what the Javash.
I really hope not.
Well, because we still don't know why the Javash hate synthetics so much. So there's definitely something there, but we don't know that yet. We don't know that part of the story because the Javash didn't exist until this series, so we don't know anything about them.
Holy shit. Okay, here's the thing. I see where this theory is coming from, and actually it makes sense, but I fucking hope not.
I still think it was
man.
V'ger.
Yeah.
I still
We-
think V'ger floated to the
we-
Delta Quadrant, and then it was all V'ger. That's what I think.
Good. We already have like 2 or 3 different explanations as to how the Borg began in a secondary canon, and frankly, I don't think we need to know. I don't think we need to know where the Borg come from.
We do not.
They're from
It does
very,
not need
very,
to be
very,
central
very,
to
very,
us.
very far away.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, Q wouldn't have needed to shoot the Enterprise D all the
Yep.
way over there. So can we just not?
They're supposed to be the threat, the thing that, hey, if you go too far out, you might see
Yeah,
some shit.
we're from the better
That's
Here's
quadrant,
the
That's
thing. Like I
Yeah.
and the Romulans are from the better quadrant.
I'm of the
and the Borg
opposite
aren't.
opinion. I've always wanted to know where the Borg came from. I've Googled it and Googled it and Googled it for
Okay.
years because I'm just like, where did they come from?
And you never got any
No,
answers because
exactly.
it doesn't exist.
And the thing is,
Because they're
and so
fictional.
I remember before the series even started, just when it was announced, I was like, please give me a Borg backstory. I want to know, because I mean, hello, Sabrina, like Jayers of Borg, you know what I mean? Like those are my people. I want to know how we started. And for those of you that don't know, my screen names used to be Jayers of Borg, but then I was put on by a lawyer that using a CBS entity as my online branding could be a no-no. So I switched it to just Average J. But for years and years and years and years, I've been Jayers of Borg. I want to know where the Borg
And
started.
that's why
I'm similar. I want to know,
Oh,
but
no.
don't tell me. I am very curious about, like, where did they come from? I don't
no,
know.
tell me.
Don't
I want
tell
all
me.
the info.
But-
I want all of it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd mind like a Borg origin story if it was like brand new stuff that took place in a different quadrant. I really just don't want it to be like it was the Romulans, it was the Vulcans, it was the Andorians. Like nah,
Yeah.
It was Earth.
nah.
Region.
Yeah, at least V'ger at least would be like an accident, but at least one of the books does say that it's from Earth, and I'm just like, then why would they have gone so far out and then forgotten that human exists,
Yeah.
and then been reminded with Picard? Whatever.
Anyway. But yeah, they keep on making they keep on dropping Romulans and Borg in this Borg cube, and there's something special between the connection.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
Find out, maybe.
I definitely. That theory makes sense. The Romulans created the Borg ages ago, and they've done everything they can to hide it. If you're
Don't
talking
you dare,
about
Star Trek Picard.
no,
Don't you dare.
if you're talking about just those details, it makes sense. But if you're talking about the episode where we first meet the Borg,
See, well, the thing with that theory that sucks though is why do they have to be, an alpha quadrant entity? Why can't they? You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Why make them? Why have them originate from the Romulans in the alpha quadrant, and then have them all these years later be in the delta quadrant or whatever? It's like why can't they just exist there? Now something like V'ger happened to go all the way out there, and that something happened that way. Okay, but if it's like the Romulans or the Cardassians or the Ferengi or whatever,
then why didn't they take us over 1,000? Whatever.
yeah, and that's just it. Like, why don't make them in the alpha quadrant when they're not it just I have an issue with that. Like everything can originate from
Exactly.
the Alpha Quadrant. It has to like the Borg can exist from a different quadrant, and it's okay. They don't have to originate from Romulus. You know what I mean? Like don't go that route.
Exactly.
I hope they don't go that route.
Michael, what's your opinion? I feel like we're just bulldozing you.
No. Yeah, I would almost stop watching the show if they turned out that the Romulans created the Borg.
Wow.
I mean, almost. I said, not completely.
Yeah,
Stop
no, yeah.
But just like that's, I just for some reason that punches me in the stomach. I hate that idea.
Yeah.
I want it to be more like, not for lack of a better word, like mystical, or more like unknown, like some unknown species created them, or some accident or something. Hell, I prefer V'ger over the Romulans. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that idea.
Yeah, me too.
I'm 100% with you. Yep.
Every brand name that we know of has to be connected.
Yeah.
goddamn.
Keith, exactly. I'm so glad you said that. I've been watching rewatching an anime lately, and I had to laugh at it because like the main character goes into one town and he makes it rain because it hasn't rained there in forever. And then he goes to a different town later on, and it turns out that he ruined that village, and that two of the girls from that village are now in this new place that he's at. And they also happen to know a different person that he's met in between. And I was like, all right. I know this is fictional, but these coincidences are a little too strong. And that's definitely how I would feel about it. It's Kyokaramao. You haven't seen it. Just believe me. Yeah, that's how I would feel about the Borg being the Romulan. Like, they're just trying to make it as self-contained as possible, but why? It's supposed to be a huge, expansive universe. Just, like, not everybody has to know everybody already, okay?
Yeah, don't do it just to make it nice and neat and to fit into the show, yeah.
Okay. What else do I have here? All right, back to the show. We keep going on tangents. I love it, but we also ramble a lot. Okay. Let's see. It says Rafi, wake
and I
up.
do have a time limit this time.
This note.
45 minutes left.
Our note says Rafi, wake up and smell the coffee, and I don't even know what the fuck that means. Okay, skip. Ooh, okay, so we're at the dream therapy session. First of all, Narek pulls rank to get inside the room, which I thought was really funny. 'Cause he's like not really trying to hide the fact that he's Tal Shiar or Vaj, because he's just like offensively rude to that sub-commander, and then the sub-commander's just like, well, let me get out of the way so I don't get fired. I thought sub-commanders were like okay, so I'm in my TNG's kind of weak. In TOS, the first time that you see the Romulans, there's the commander, who's the lady that flirts with Spock, and then her sub-commander, who's, her second in command. So I thought sub-commander was a pretty high rank. I don't know why sub-commander is the person just guarding a room, but whatever.
Maybe they don't know what sub-commanders are.
I guess. But actually, the whole thing made me laugh, because earlier on, when Narek brings up that they have, like, a special thing that Romulans can do so they can, like, figure out dream sequences or whatever, I was like, well, I mean, you guys didn't separate from the Vulcans that long ago. You could just mind meld,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Think so.
And I feel like, did the show just forget? They were like, we're gonna separate the Vulcans and the Romulans real hard? Because Romulans should be able to mind meld. Don't they mind meld in TOS?
But can you mind meld with a synth?
Oh.
Huh. All right. But if you can't mind meld with the synth, why does the other thing work?
I don't know.
Because synth subconscious is exactly the same as human subconscious, clearly.
Well, this would be the mind melding would be like organic mind to organic mind, where this is just sifting through her programming.
Yeah.
Not to defend the show or anything.
Yeah, Keith, come on.
I like messing
would
with it.
have to rewatch. I would have to rewatch TNG and see if anybody tries to mind meld with
I don't
Data.
think so.
Pretty sure they
and
don't.
I don't think. Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't really have Vulcans a lot.
Yeah, I know Picard and Sarek and I know Picard had, and it's happened, but I don't think Data ever did. We've never seen a synth mind meld, from what I understand.
Yeah.
But again, we've not seen synths this human either.
That's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's a huge deal that synths can't be that human.
But yeah.
Narek.
Now they're in the scene. She sees Pinocchio on the table.
Hey, we're not inside the dream yet. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I thought it was funny that he gave her his real name at the end because he was like, "But why would you even tell her your real name at that point? I mean, it doesn't matter. You're just gonna, okay."
Just to rub it in.
It's just that whole like he's secretly in love with her
yeah,
thing.
he's so torn.
There you go.
Actually, it's really funny. I wrote, "Yeah, I super love you, sweetheart. Now open your mind to me." Because like he can't decide if he does romantic stuff because he's actually into her or if he's trying to take advantage of her by tricking her with, like he doesn't even know which one he's doing. Which
the actor can't.
I'm not totally mad about that because actually that's what human beings are like. We genuinely like don't know why we do things sometimes, and we're really inconsistent. But like the level of inconsistency they go with, sometimes I'm just like, all right, okay, we're not that good at lying to ourselves. But let's talk about just Narek before we go into the dream. I feel like they're just going like a Snape route with him. You know, when I was reading Harry Potter, I noticed very clearly that it was like, book 1, he's evil. Book 2, he's good. Book 3, he's evil. Book 4, he's good. And I was like, all right, well, let me just do the math. I guess he's gonna end up being good, whatever. And I feel like they're doing the same thing with Narek in every scene where they're like, he loves her, but he doesn't. But he does, but he doesn't. But he does, but oh, surprise, he does. And I was like, okay, well, that was subtle.
I think they're pushing us into the now we get to see ex-lovers go at each other because what he did is pretty irredeemable. He tried to come back from murder. Yeah, that was you're out of there, buddy. You can't hug that one out. Yeah. So yeah, we're out of the romance world. Yeah. Thank God. I think unless they go really bad and they do romance still.
Yeah,
which we can't.
I actually thought, oh my God. Okay, just side note. Soji is easily tricked. That's what she gets for being 37 months old.
Yeah. Aren't there some laws against that, Narek? I mean, come on.
Yeah, Narek.
Gross, bro. Dude. Well, here. Okay. So, are we still talking about the in the room and the okay? Yeah. Are we at the end of that yet?
We can talk about any part that happens in the room. I just don't want to talk about the dream yet.
I love that at the end she gets mad and hits the floor and like, ooh, that didn't hurt, and I broke the floor. I'm gonna keep doing this, and she's just banging on the floor and just like annihilates the floor, and I'm just like, yes. And then you tell like something clicked, and she's like, I'm invincible. I'm gonna mess this shit up.
Something did literally click. Since she was activated.
Oh, it was awesome.
The only thing that would have made that scene better is this: as she jumped down, she flipped him off with both hands. Like, boom.
But before that, I would make fun of the part where she puts her face into the poison. Like, the box opens up and she like walks up to it, puts her face into it. She's like, "What's all this poison stuff?" Ah! And then she starts running away from it. I was like, okay, you don't want to do
I'm
that
also
because it could have killed you.
Very curious what sort of poison it is because he just like assumes it will kill a synth.
Right?
Yeah. Very slowly, as opposed to stuff they do have on hand. That kills synths very
kind
fast.
of one of a kind or two of a kind right now. Like, how do you know what'll work? In
theory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. All right, dream time. Dream time.
Michael, do you want to start us off on this one? How do you feel about the dream?
The whole seeing her Pinocchio sister on the table didn't bother me as much. I mean, it was on the nose, but obviously, but I think Pinocchio knows, yeah. But it was kind of just how.
Nice.
It was, yeah, but
nicely done.
So I think it was just how like her mind interpreted it. I did love how she couldn't see her dad's face. That made it kind of extra creepy, I think.
Yeah, well, it tied into the whole like a horror vibe from the beginning of the episode. Yeah, when his face was all blurred out, I was like, I'm so uncomfortable right now.
Right. But no, going slightly back to Narek or whatever. He's getting very annoying to me for some reason. I don't know. So I'm hoping that he gets his just desserts, I suppose, in the end. But
yeah,
I don't know. That's all I had to say about that. I find him annoying now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. He's like simultaneously kind of like bossy and tricky towards her, but then just like crying and upset at his sister, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
He's so torn. He's like an angsty teen.
Yeah, seriously.
Exactly, yeah.
How dreamy? Maybe some parts of the audience, maybe they like it.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
No judgment, but a little bit.
We just won't admit to it.
Right. Not on
Exactly.
the podcast, no.
The dream sequence was cool, and
Okay,
I
well-
want to know what I want to know if the flowers are literal or if they're
Yeah.
some sort of analogy, or if there's something behind them, like as far as meaning. And then also, I want to know if the face is not what's his name's. Yeah, I want to know if the face is someone else.
I think it is.
I don't know. It's blurred out. So I mean, it leaves you the question like, hey, is that someone other than Maddox? Was it not Maddox? You know what I mean?
Was it more? Because it can't be Maddox now because
Why would
the
they have hidden
Borg
his face
Queen?
as Maddox?
I mean,
Yeah.
just kidding.
they jacked him out. I have a note saying he looks like a young Moff Tarkin.
Yeah, but I want to know, like,
that's
but
what I
there
thought
are
with it,
things
but yeah.
that, since technically this is a dream sequence, like what's literal and what's not.
I think it was Quark, actually.
Ooh, hey, trying to make that
yeah.
Latinum. Trying to make that Latinum, man.
Right. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm glad that you said that, Jay, because actually that was my thing. I was like, okay, so the marionette is obvious. She saw her sister. Her sister was still in pieces, because she's an android, and she didn't know how to interpret that because she thought her sister was human. That makes perfect sense. It's quite literal. But why
Exactly.
orchids? Yeah, that's exactly the question I had then. And I even tried to look up orchids to see if there was something specific about, like, orchids as a species only existing because, like, we bred them, but I couldn't find anything. So I don't know, but I am curious about the orchids. But we've seen orchids, unless it was somehow a reference to Keiko, but I don't see why that would be the case.
I just feel like there maybe orchid. Well, think about it. Maybe orchids. Maybe another, set of twins is named Orchid and something else or something. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like maybe it's not literal flowers. Maybe it's like it's other synths. Maybe each one of those flowers is another synth. Who knows?
That's not a bad idea, yeah.
Or it's a synthetic flower. He started there.
Dun,
It's the
dun,
big
That
dun.
are
flowers
sentient
worked his way up.
flowers that are alive.
What? I also find it funny that, like, their definition of these, like, super synths are basically like clones of humans. You can't tell the difference at all. They're the same, but whatever.
Yeah, why specifically humans?
That's a
Well,
nitpick.
and so here's another thing. Borg try to attain perfection by assimilation, right?
Yep.
And I think there are episodes where they talk about the trifecta. I think Agnes talks about the trifecta and that it couldn't exist, and it'd be basically something about I can't remember specifically, but something about them essentially like being perfect. You know what I mean? Like, so Borg were trying to attain it by assimilation, and they attained it by design. Like, there's parallels between the Borg and what they're trying to attain with synths, with Soji and Daj.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. There's so much deep. There's so much they could do with that. You know what I mean? Like, it could be such a deep thing to go into, which I doubt they will because they only have 10 episodes. But there are absolute parallels between the two, so it's just kind of crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Sorry, I go on my deep little tangents. I apologize.
Please do.
First of all,
no apologies.
who are you saying that to? Because we all,
That's why we're here.
except poor Michael, who's so
I
like patient
know.
with us when we just like
We're
bulldoze
crazy.
over him.
Yeah.
We're sorry, Michael.
I'm
We
just
also care about
happy to
your
be here. I'm
opinion.
just
And for
happy to
those
be
of
here.
you that
That's fine.
don't
We're
know,
just-
this podcast exists because of Michael. This was his. Yeah, this is
Yeah, thank
his
you, Michael.
his child, and he brought us onto
Please,
it.
please
so,
stop.
So thank you for having us.
We're just also loud children who have taken over the space.
I would say he's
That's
our
right.
captain, and we're on the
That's
crew.
right.
Does that make me Helm?
You can
Yes,
be
it
whatever you
does.
want.
Troy.
Well, I want to be
No.
captain. So, wait.
That just no, it gives me wrong feelings.
Or right feelings.
Dun, dun.
A friend of mine in one of the Facebook groups recently made a meme where she photoshopped every
I saw that.
single
Yeah,
I
TNG
saw
into
that.
like
With
the V-neck.
I want one of
awesome.
those.
That made me
Wow,
made
that was
me
her.
confused.
I loved
yeah,
it.
made me a little confused.
It made you confused.
Me too.
I'm like, yes.
Okay, where were we? We finished the dream sequence.
Yeah.
For some reason I feel like that's the end of the episode, but I know it's not. It just
No.
like it feels
Yeah.
like the right moment
Yeah.
to end the episode.
Now it's the escape from the Borg cube and get to the Iconian gate. I mean the Sakaran
Well,
gate.
so the interesting thing about the end of that episode is Soji doesn't have the same feeling toward Picard as Daj, at least not yet.
I thought that was weird.
Because when Daj was in danger, Picard showed up and she was like, "I just knew I'd be safe with you. I feel safe with you." And Soji didn't have that effect, and I'm wondering what the difference is between
Yeah.
the two, because they were both, in danger.
She was just like, I immediately
Yeah.
trust you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Soji wasn't. And it was
Yeah.
after both of them had
Yeah.
activated. So
It's just interesting.
I was wondering that
You would
myself.
think.
Yeah.
you would think if the activation
have a note
has
saying-
something to do with it, then. Yeah. You have a note saying?
A note saying that I think they kill some innocent Romulans on their way through their escape. There's like some Romulans that they're just guarding, and I think they like broke their necks and didn't think twice about it, and just like I don't think they were legitimate evil. So that's a little.
What are
iffy
you
there.
talking about? All Romulans are immediately evil.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They all look the
exactly.
same. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you know? No, I'm just kidding. Racist.
I have no love for Romulans. I would do it, but I'm just saying that maybe they should think about it because they're actually in Star. Well, whatever. And then Elnor,
Yeah.
how did he get over there? Like they
I
didn't
know.
even
And then
try to
poor
explain
dude's
that.
just left there.
Like, there's
He's
just
like,
no
"I'll buy you
security
time."
on
I'm like,
Rios'
"But
ship.
Wait a minute, like,
Yeah.
That seemed
Yeah,
unnecessary
agreed.
to me. Yeah.
yeah, I
it's
know.
like,
Like,
you can
come
already
on.
lock the room. And they're already gone.
Well, I
they were
thought
all
Hugh was
gonna
going to
jump
be
through
on the
gate
crew, and I'm like,
together,
"Come on,
but
dude! Like, all
okay.
of you, just go." Because Hugh, like, get in the
Yeah.
ship, be on the crew,
Yeah.
Hugh. Come on. But I get it.
Yeah.
That would be
Well, I'm still upset about the two Romulans that got left on Earth. So, actually, one of my
Yeah.
roommates. I told you I was watching Picard with two
Yeah.
of my roommates, and I only watched this episode with one of my roommates because the other one he was sick. But we were like, "Hey, do you want to watch Picard with us?" And he was like, "Yeah, actually, the only characters I like were the two Romulan, like the two Tal Shiar people, and they're not in the
Picard's
show anymore,
lovers?
so I don't care
Yeah.
about it." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Cold."
How funny. And then, okay, so question. Was that an Iconian gate? No.
Nope.
Okay.
They say it was Sakaran, which I forget who they were. I thought I saw somewhere.
Okay.
I think I posted up a meme about it, where the Sakarans maybe had
Okay.
slipstream technology, but
Because
not
there was
deep
a
technology.
that episode of TNG where Data and Picard I think it's Data and Picard where they have to like jump through a. Do you remember they were like alternating? They're in the room and they're alternating
yeah.
gates, and they have to like just jump through one before they get like annihilated.
Yes.
And they jump through one and end up on was
Yeah.
it a Romulan ship or they end up on some kind of yeah. And
Yep.
I think
yeah,
it was
but it's
Romulan,
just
yeah.
ironic, like that scene, and they're running from the Romulans, and in TNG when they jump through a gate, they land on a Romulan ship, and it's just very it's just interesting.
Romulans,
Yeah.
Romulans.
Yeah, there's just something to it, Anyway,
Yeah, you run into the Iconians in Star Trek Online. That was
you know what?
really
I remember
man, I
that
love
part
the-
actually. That was
yeah.
before I stopped playing. Yeah. Yeah.
Me
that's-
too.
Mhm.
And I haven't played in like 2.5 years, so
Yeah,
if we
yeah.
both
Yeah.
remember it, then
Oh, it
clearly
was a long
pretty
time ago.
like dope storyline.
No, I think I played that before my.
dope.
That had to have been 5
yeah.
or 7 years ago.
Oh shoot! Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
that was
that's
5
a
years
long
ago.
time ago.
Where does
Sadly,
time
I do
go?
not remember.
Christ.
They are mixing the references a bit.
Yeah, I've definitely seen some people being like, "Hold on, you guys used kind of an Ionian technology, but you attributed to a different species." But
Yeah.
just, whatever. So there's
Only dorks like us will gonna say anything.
yeah, weird shit. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. Hugh and Picard somehow magically know all the secret passageways on this Borg ship
Ex-Borg.
because they still have Borg feelings. We talked
Hashtag
about
Borg.
that. The Queen Cell. Oh, I thought it was funny. Hugh says, you remember even if you've never been here before, and I was like, you guys are starting to mix your metaphors, because it was like the PTSD and the other stuff. Anyway, Soji somehow magically knows that it'll teleport them 40,000 light years, because I don't know why they're still doing the Soji knows random things thing for us, because like we already know that she's an android and she knows random things. Like, all right, you're not telling us anything new there, but oh, shockingly, Elnor followed Picard. Who knew that would happen?
Yeah, no surprise there. Yeah, I know.
And then got left behind.
Yeah, so Hugh and Elnor both sacrificed themselves, quote unquote, at the end of that, and I was like, but do they?
Well, and so here's something that's funny. Elnor stayed back to buy them time with a sword. I mean, so...
Yeah. In close quarters on a spaceship, I can see that, but they had distance.
It's like, is he gonna I'm not expecting him to be fast enough to deflect phaser fire or disruptor fire, because he's not a Jedi, or is he? But
yes, he is.
It's like
he's a Jedi space elf.
I know.
Okay,
I know. And his, you know what, his sword's gonna light up, and he's gonna be able to start like deflecting things, huh? Anyway, I was just like, come on.
How did he get over this ship? How did he get over there? There's no security whatsoever on Rios' ship. Like, you can just use the beam whenever you want, and no one notices. You can turn off like the EMH, whatever you want.
If only,
there's no security anywhere unless it will make for a tense escape scene.
If only Seven hadn't stolen that transporter enhancer, that little thing, Elnor could have had it.
Yeah, if only.
And could have transported back up, but Seven stole it and went down and killed people.
Okay. I gotta be frank. I already complained about they're all gonna disappear slowly and then reappear all at the end to give us big feelings. It's like a two-punch. At the end of this episode, we had sad feelings, and at the end of the last episode, we will have happy feelings just from doing that. So, I'm very unimpressed by the, oh no, we have to leave this person behind. Oh no, we have to leave this person behind. Oh no, we have to leave this other person behind. Because every time they do it, I'm like, okay, we'll see them later.
I think that's going to be a good call, Frank.
Thanks, bud.
Because she said, let me be frank.
Very good.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Why are you apologizing for bad puns? They're like my favorite. I don't understand.
Yay!
I am looking up. You keep saying keep looking. I am looking up.
My last note is, I feel like I'm more into TNG Picard than Patrick Stewart is.
Yeah.
He's like, not Keith, I don't want to do that no
he's
more.
He's like, I'm done. I want to do some more fun, like, subtle, like, different turns stuff. And
I want the world to see Patrick Stewart.
I get to wear an eye patch and have
Picard,
a bad French accent.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's acting.
That reminds me...
Well, as long as he's having a good time.
I mean, all of these actors have some struggles with this kind of stuff, because remember, Leonard Nimoy wrote a book, I Am Not Spock, about how people only remembered as Spock, and then years and years and years later wrote another book that is I Am Spock.
Well, and here's the thing.
I'm sure being in a show like this gives you complex
anyone
feelings.
that watched the show Fringe saw Leonard Nimoy, and he was amazing. So I mean, like he wasn't only Spock. He did a ton of amazing stuff outside of that, but he is most known for Spock. So he had to embrace it at some point.
Yeah, and I think those two books are about his journey, embracing it. Anything else anybody wants to say about this episode specifically? Michael, how do you feel now that we've ruined it for you?
Well, I'm sad to announce this will be the last episode of There Are Four.
No.
Oh my God! I love this episode, Mike. This episode was so cool.
No, it just made me question the first part of the episode, so I'm gonna go watch it again. Once Hugh showed up, I was on board 100%. Even with the how did Elnor get to the ship and save him and stuff, and I don't know. Once Hugh was there, I was all the feels, and hopefully, I mean, we know from the preview that spoiler, he's not dead, but I just hope he becomes part of the crew in some way, if not now in season 2.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll end up completely taking over the Borg ship from the Romulans.
That would be dope.
They will no longer be slaves. Borg revolution.
Boom.
Either he will or Daj will.
Yeah. Keith, you have anything to say about this particular episode that we have not already?
Which is what I said before. not enough holy shit moments per episode. Like my Stargate Atlantis watches every like 5, 10, 15 minutes. There's like holy shit, what? Holy shit, what?
Coil's here now.
And then like in here,
Colia's here now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we get like fun like what the hell so many times, and then you get like the satisfying ending, and then in this we keep on getting the carrot stick is just like you almost got it, you almost got it. Get to the next episode to see
next episode, next
and
episode.
it's like all right, so
it's funny that you say that, because I feel like
fiction.
that's literally like the layout of each episode has been like, okay, the first episode you find out that what's her face is on somewhere in space, so you have to find a spaceship. Okay, now we have to go find Maddox. Let's go find Maddox. Okay, now Maddox is dead. Let's go to the Borg cube. Okay, now the Borg cube is dead. Let's go to the planet with the two red moons.
But it's kind of like none of those are holy shit. Like you mean somebody in Star Trek is out in space? What? Yeah, that's how it works here. And then
it just feels...
hey, we found Maddox. Maddox is dead. Like, oh well, that was cool. We found Maddox to kill him. Yeah, it just...
You're right. It does feel very linear. It's like, go here. Okay, a thing happens, so now you have to go here. Okay, a thing happens, so now you have to go here. Okay, I'm just... I barely even play video games that are like that, you know?
Yeah.
Cool.
Like, wow me some. I want to have more fun.
Jay, how do you feel?
But it's still fun to talk
Same.
about.
I had super feels when he and Hugh reunited, so that was amazing. I think you guys just think too much, and I think that you should just enjoy what it is for what it is. No, I'm just kidding.
Agreed.
No, I agree with a lot of the stuff. There isn't much depth, which I think I've kind of agreed with and talked about this into every episode we've had. Honestly, they could do so much more, but they're in such a short amount of time, and I think that's the drawback of us being used to these old ways of Star Trek, and now this binge watch 10 episode season stuff, and I brought that up a million times too. And they're trying to cram all this stuff into a 10 episode season, and Star Trek has just always thrived with the long story arcs. So when you have these compacted things, you lose the depth. So I love the show. Again, like I'll always say it, Picard's Picard. It's my dude. I will follow Patrick Stewart anywhere. I love that man. And, I'm still holding out. I want to see what the last 4 episodes have. This episode wasn't a huge letdown. I think that, again, Narek's the character Narek is starting to frustrate me as well. Like, he's just playing the torn I love her but I don't love her thing, and it's just getting old, and I mean, mind you, it's over now because he tried to kill her, but now it's like, the back and forth with those two, it needed to end. So I'm kind of this is gonna sound horrible, but I'm kind of glad he tried to kill her so we can have that closure. Yep.
Unfortunately, it looks like he's gonna have more.
I know.
Because why would you?
Oh no, he's gonna be around, but now there's the end of I'm pretending. Now he doesn't have to pretend anymore. So he can either admit what he feels or what he doesn't feel. He can be the good guy, he could be the bad guy, but the thing is, like, he tried to kill her. So that story arc of him being torn of I think I love her, but I have to do this because my sister will like break my arm. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And I might like it.
Because incest twins or incest brother, sister, whatever. Yeah. But it's
finally.
Finally.
So I think the highlight of this episode was Hugh and the PTSD and the tones and the like what the core of the episode was about, which was him going to the cube, having PTSD, having the drones actually help make sure he doesn't die, and then Hugh kind of saying, yes, like, I understand because I've been there too, and it's that camaraderie of, hey, we've all had PTSD and we've all had to deal with that, and we're here for you. You know what I mean? And the support, like, Hugh loves Picard and Picard loves Hugh, and that's obvious when you see them together. So that's really what did it for me. I mean, everything else, like, push the story forward, and they're forcing a lot of it, which they have to, which sucks. But
I'd like to remind everyone that they're the ones who decided to do 10 episodes, so that's their own fault.
But at the same time, like, the core of what that episode was about was, Narek and Soji, and having that fallout finally happen. Soji getting activated and breaking through the floor and essentially freeing herself of that tether to him. Picard, PTSD, Hugh, Borg, drones, X-drones, supporting him, and showing like, hey, so we support this and we're here for it. The tones were there. It's just the story is rushed, which it always has been. But the core tones were there, and they were. I liked it.
I definitely thought that tonally it was more consistent this episode than it was in the Stardust episode. You'll remember me being like, how did it go from slapstick to serious and back so fast?
Yeah.
Murders
so
and
yeah, I
giggling.
definitely think you're right there. At least it had like a consistent thing, and it also at the very beginning, you remember I said they used like the horror soundtrack as well for her nightmare. They use it again with Picard when he comes on board the ship. That kind of like horror tension. So that was good too. I like the way that they tied that together. Yeah. Anybody got anything left to say?
I'm good too. Keep
I'm
looking
good.
up.
Cool. So my favorite
Just
part.
kidding.
No. Hold on.
Not yet.
Sabrina's favorite part of the episode. Michael, you get to go last this time.
Oh.
Does anybody? No, nobody. Okay, Jay,
Okay.
you'll go first. Do you have any predictions aside from the two spontaneous thoughts that I've written down for you already? One, Picard is in the Nexus, and two, the Borg Queen is actually their mom.
I mean, I'm gonna be so spot on with those. I just know it.
Oh, so spot on. Yep.
No, I think that not necessarily a theory, but I'm excited to see the progression of Soji and Picard, and the connections that they have or don't have, and the differences of Daj versus Soji. Because I don't really know. We don't know if she's gonna feel the same toward Picard as Daj did. You know what I mean? I don't know what that difference was, but so far it wasn't there. I also I'm wondering, and this could be a theory, if Agnes is going to try to pull something and Soji is going to catch her, and essentially there's going to be a Agnes trying to prove herself versus Soji like, nah, like that's not going to work. You know what I mean? Like Picard's going to have to make a choice. You know what I mean? Like Agnes. Yeah.
Between her.
So that's, I feel like there's going to be some fallout with Agnes, and we know that's coming. I just don't know if it's going to be next episode or later. But something's going to happen that's going to cause some kind of, decision or some kind of conflict that's like essentially like a no-win. Like someone's going to have to either die or go down, or something's going to happen. And obviously it's not going to be Soji because the story's about her and Daj. So something's going to happen to Agnes. So I don't know. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at so far. Other than that, just I'm waiting for the Borg Queen to show up and all that. Because I mean, what I think Alice
waiting for
Alice
the Borg
Creed,
Queen to show
I
up.
think her name is, right? Yeah, like I mean, all I need is for her to show up in the episode, and then I'm like, mic drop, I'm out.
That would be awesome.
That's it.
She's amazing, by the way.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, she sure is. Sometimes she'll pop up in something else, and my dad will pull me into. Well, not anymore because I don't live at home. But it used to be, my mom and my dad would watch movies, and then my dad would shout me down from wherever room I was in, and he'd be like, "What actress is that?
Yeah.
Or what actor is that?" And once I walked into the room, I glanced at it and was like, "Oh, it's the Borg Queen," and he was like, "I didn't even recognize her."
She was in that show, The OA, on Netflix, which I absolutely loved. Oh, it's so
I love
good.
the OA.
And I love when.
Britt is such
my
a
God.
great writer. I'm so disappointed they're not going to finish it.
She did a big
Britt Manning.
story, on
OP.
Times, New York Times or something, or Washington Post or something like. I forget what it was, but I totally read it.
About why she doesn't want to be a strong female.
Yep, and it was true.
character.
I read the whole thing.
To cut the OP for you guys, it was a great opinion piece. To give you guys just like a really brief summary, basically she writes about how when she started Hollywood, it was like all of the roles were like wife or girlfriend or whatever. So she's like, well, this is boring. And then they started being like, aha, we're going to have strong female characters. But when they say strong female character in Hollywood, what they actually mean is a dude that you would have sex with.
Yeah.
Like, he
Yeah.
behaves like a dude,
Yup.
does all the action like a dude, but is in a woman's body, and how that's not the only type of strong woman that can exist. So I really loved it that the OA has her, the main character, be someone who's more about like emotion and support and taking care of people, because you can also be strong by doing that, and emotional strength is actually really difficult. So more worship towards emotionally strong characters and less towards people who are just capable of.
And fun
killing you
fact,
with a
she
stick.
got so tired of all those same roles that she wrote the OA herself with her partner. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Not only did she write the OA, but I think it's like tangentially related to a life experience that she had, because the OA is kind of about people who develop special powers because they've touched death and come back to it, you know, had near-death experiences, and I think she actually had a near-death experience herself personally, and that's what inspired it. So if you haven't seen the OA, it's definitely interesting science fiction. Unfortunately, it's going to remain incomplete.
Sorry to go off on that, but anyway, yes, the Borg Queen, the actress that plays Borg Queen, is in the OA, and I was so happy when I saw her, and I was like, oh my god, that's great. I love her so much.
Yeah, I completely understand. Keith, do you have any theories?
That the AI mom is the Borg Q. That's-
Oh, right, of course. Michael?
And that's it.
No, I think I will predict that. Is it Soji that's remaining?
Yeah.
Yeah, Soji will become the destroyer, and then Hugh and Picard will have to take her down.
Okay.
I'm just throwing that out there.
I think I mentioned it earlier today, but my new prediction this week is that the Borg are also going to be involved in the people that are activated rather than just pure synths. But maybe they'll be able to fight against the urge because they're not completely synthetic. And that's how we're going to get Hugh and Picard like fighting. Because, you know, the whole thing with the Borg PTSD is they feel like they're still in some way part Borg, so then it's going to activate the Borg part and they have to forcibly fight with it in a more literal way. So that might be a little on the nose, but I think it's metaphorical enough that, like, I would enjoy it. Well,
I still
we'll see
think
what happens.
that Romulan ship that got assimilated, that caused so many issues for that Borg cube, I still think that they were Zhat Vash, and I think that I have this this gut feeling that the Zhat Vash actually don't want them to activate the synthetics because they're still part synthetic. If that makes sense. Because why would the Borg have an issue assimilating these Romulans if they weren't already somewhat synthetic? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay.
Nice.
You just blew my mind, Jay.
Well done.
So I think they're terrified of being activated themselves.
Last week you said, "Oh, you guys, you're forcing me to like open these new parts of my mind." Well, you're welcome, because that was great. Well done.
Thank you.
You're discovering new skills every day.
I'll take it. Thanks, Sabrina.
Yeah. I hope that comes true. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
I hope that we don't watch episode 10 and then sit here going, "Well, our theories were better than what happened."
That didn't
Yeah,
happen.
definitely.
Oof. All right, well, that's everything for me. Anybody got anything else to say?
No, you can just find us at therewere4hosts.com and at 4hosts on Twitter. And Keith, do you want to tell us anything?
I think we should
There
all
it is.
remember to
All right.
keep looking up.
And on that note, thank you everyone for listening, and thank you three for being on the podcast with me.
Thank you.
Oh.
Bye.
Take it easy,
And
guys.
thanks, Michael, for inviting us. Bye, 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 everyone.
Later.
Have a good day.